Hi, this is Ken and Michelle Bass.
And you're listening to the Resilient Parenting Podcast. Okay, so Kid and I were just talking about we're the age where we have to take a picture of something to be able to read it. And I do that with pictures now too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do that?
You take a picture of a picture so you can see the picture?
Yes.
I do that also. And if the picture has writing in the picture, then I enlarge the picture to see the picture of the picture with the writing in it.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. I think you lost me a couple pictures ago.
I have some pictures to show you.
Oh, not that kind of show, Ken.
Sorry.
So we have a great episode. I feel like every episode is great. But this one really is something that everyone can relate to or can learn from. Mm-hmm. I think everyone can learn something from every episode. But this one is not going away, as we learned. And so we're going to have to embrace it and learn to figure it out. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I will give you a hint. Do you want a hint?
Yeah.
Owl.
Mm-hmm. Owl?
Owl.
Okay.
And Whiffy.
Whiffy?
Oh, you know it. Whiffy, real good. There's also my lame attempt at making music.
Okay, just stick around. It'll come up next. This time around, we're chatting with Stephanie Worrell, who's got a company called AI Empower You.
Yeah, you got it.
We'll get back to that in a minute. AI Empower You, Raising AI Smart Kids. And it's also the title of a book that you've come out with also.
Yep. I just recently published a book about how to raise AI smart kids, basically. What parents need to know, the basic fundamentals, the introduction to AI for parents. So.
Okay. So how did you come around to this subject in your mind? What brought this around to the top of your mind to write a book about and talk about?
Yeah. Well, I've been working in the communication and PR. I've had a long PR career. Mm-hmm. And over the last probably 10 years, I've been focused on PR in healthcare. Mm-hmm. And AI has been around for a really long time. So this is different. There's traditional AI, which we've been using in healthcare to predict things, to diagnose, chatbots. So traditional AI has been around for a while, and I've been very interested in working with it in my field. Well, over the last 12 to 18 months, generative AI has come onto the scene, and that's what we're all hearing about right now. Generative AI.
What is that?
So generative AI is taking using prompts, putting information in to generate new information. So unlike traditional AI, where it's using data to predict things. So let's say just with your email inbox, for instance. So traditional AI decides whether it's spam or it's regular email, and it filters it for you. Sometimes it makes a mistake, that kind of thing. Right. But with generative AI, it's the ability to use algorithms and data to generate new text, graphics, all of those things. So, we were just talking about, Michelle, you're an artist, and, it can, and how, we're creating art all the time. You're creating, you paint, is that what you said?
Yes, I paint.
You paint, but now you can use AI to actually create artwork.
It's true. Like they have things on Facebook and it'll say, give the scenario, and then they'll create it for you.
Yeah. And so I also became interested in it because in my profession, it is changing the way I work in communications. So I can so if I'm working with a client and let's say I'm writing a press release, so, a news release to send something out for a client about something that they've been doing, an announcement, a product announcement, it can help me generate that press release in half the time using prompts so I can do my work. And people in the communication field, it's changing the way we work. So strategic communication plans, press releases, talking points, speeches for my clients. And so we're using generative AI to generate new content, and it's pulling from the data sets that it have and algorithms to actually predict and create that information.
So we've been talking amongst ourselves about trying to get more people to find the Resilient Parenting podcast. And we talked a lot about, we've heard anyway, if people will leave reviews and stars, that it'll reach more people. Is that kind of the same idea, or is something different?
That's a little bit different. So that's SEO, with search engine optimization. So that's what we've been hearing about for years with the internet. And we were just talking about the internet a minute ago and the evolution of that. But it's similar to the internet. So that's actually using some form of AI to actually pull up using keywords and that, because you're using keywords for like parenting, for instance, and it'll help pull up your podcast so people can find it. So it's a little bit different in terms of SEO versus AI.
So when we're talking about parenting, I know that you're an expert on AI in parenting and education and digital safety, and then AI-powered learning tools, preparing children for an AI-driven future. So I know when we first started, you wanted to first just make sure that everyone understands AI because it's been villainized a little bit.
Yeah, people don't understand it.
I didn't even know what it was initially.
Yeah,
I
you thought
AI,
it was A1.
I thought it was either A1 or I
Give
saw
me a
it
steak.
I saw it used in a sentence and thought they were saying because it's a lowercase L or whatever. I thought it was Al, and I was like, "Who is Al?"
It is Al. What did you say earlier?
Yeah, and this is going to date myself a little bit, all of us, but I remember sitting in my office several years ago when Wi-Fi became available, and we were sitting around like, "What's Wi-Fi?" And so, what the heck is Wi-Fi? And we kept calling it Wi-Fi. So it's not uncommon. It's AI. It stands for artificial intelligence.
And this is where maybe some of the older parents have issues, like me, trying to understand what's going on. That's what you're trying to deal with here.
And this is the same. We need to treat it the same as Wi-Fi and the internet. This is going to change the way everything works. The way we work. I just gave a great example of how it's changing the way I work, but it's not going away. And as parents, we really need to educate ourselves around it. Now, I talk to a lot of parents and like, well, I need to understand it, but I'm not going to be able to. I don't want to teach my kids what AI is.
Right.
But you need to understand it. I think a lot of parents. I know we've got social media, and I know I wish I would have educated myself a little bit more around social media. Well, this is your opportunity. We've got social media. We're still seeing issues with kids and mental health issues and body image and all of those things around social media. Well, now we're just layering AI on top of it. And one of the things that kids are in that Common Sense Media study that I was just referring to is 7 out of 10 kids are using AI. Well, they're using it as to talk to. Like you can put in like, "Hi, my name is Stephanie, and today I had a really bad experience with my boyfriend at school today, this and that, how should I handle it?" So they're using it. They can put their information and their feelings in, and then it can talk back to them. And you can have a relationship with AI. It's not a real relationship, but that's actually happening. Kids are using it, in terms of boredom, like as a friend, and we don't want that. We want to make sure that they maintain relationships with people and talking to people. So that's just one thing that kids are doing with it. The other thing that they're doing with it is in their schoolwork. Like parents would be really surprised how prevalent it's becoming, where kids are just sitting down in front of it. And ChatGPT, for instance, it's what I use all the time.
Say that again?
ChatGPT is ChatGPT. It's
like a different language.
Yeah. So it's OpenAI is the company that basically owns ChatGPT, and that's their application that they use.
Okay.
And so that's the platform. There's also Google has something called Gemini, and these are the platforms that you can use, and it's free. The initial model of it, so kids can sit down and let's say they're English instructor, teacher, they're in high school and says, hey, we need to write a paper about World War II or Winston Churchill, they can just put, hey, I need to write a 500-word paper, or a 1,200-word paper around World War II. And it'll spit it out for you.
What?
Yeah.
That used to cost you like $20.
Yeah.
I
to pay
heard.
somebody
I
else to do it.
heard.
Yeah, now you don't have to do that. And so kids, basically, it's plagiarism.
Right.
You can plagiarize. And so what that's doing is starting to eliminate, we still want kids they need to be able to have critical thinking and understand how to still think. We don't want to get into a world where we are using AI that can basically, it can think for you.
Didn't they refer to that also as original thinking?
Yeah, original thinking, critical thinking. We need to make sure that our kids, they need to be able to make decisions for themselves. I mean, and do thinking for themselves. I mean, I just had a situation for myself where, this is more related to the internet, but I flew into the Atlanta airport and all of a sudden my cell phone was completely down. And I had to drive 20 miles outside of Atlanta, and I'd never been there before, and I didn't have GPS. And so,
that's one of my worst nightmares.
Yeah, exactly. So I had to go back, and thank God I knew how to use a map. So I was able to use critical thinking, go to a gas station, get a map, follow the map. So we need to think about that with AI, with our kids. Like, they need to be able to manually do things, just like when I was talking about with my profession. I need to understand how to write a press release first, to be able to give it the directions. We can't just depend on which is completely, we can turn into robots. And I think that's why it's being demonized. It is why it is. It's like we see all these movies where robots are taking over the world.
Right.
Well, that's AI technology that they're talking about. All these predictive movies, using all these scary robot movies. That's AI.
You know what this
Can a
reminds?
robot fold a map? I doubt
Well,
so.
you know what this reminds me of is Wall-E.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wall-E.
exactly.
Wall-E.
Yeah, that's
So-
exactly it.
So let's talk safety. What are some things that parents can do right now for safety with their kids with AI?
Yeah, first of all, just making sure you're talking to your kids about it.
Okay.
Understanding, do they know what it is? So you need to understand, do they know what it is? What are they, they're talking about it. I was at a dinner this summer with some kids as young as 3rd and 4th grade, and they knew what AI was. There's an application called PhotoMath that kids can put math problems in, and they can use it to do their math for them, basically. It's supposed to help them understand how to do the math, and they were using ChatGPT to do their homework assignments. So 3rd and 4th grade, kids were talking about it. They were using it to do their homework. So you need to understand that your kids are even as young as, I don't know about kindergarten, but 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, you need to start having discussions about it to understand, and then you need to understand what, you should be doing this anyway, but you need to understand what your kids are doing on the internet in general. So going back to the basic fundamentals of internet safety, just what are your kids doing? What are they searching for? Understanding what your kids are doing, typing in, using the internet for. So that's number one. And then the second thing, just like basic internet safety, like privacy. They're not putting their name in there, their address, their phone number, personal information.
Where they go to school.
All of those things. So it's the same basic fundamentals as social media and internet in general, but so you need to understand that it's the same rules. Some people just think with AI, well, it's not really collecting my personal information. Well, that's what it's doing. It's aggregating all of that data out there. So if you're a parent, and the other thing, to the next level, thinking about it, using it at work, like parents need to think about it work-wise is like, we're not putting in our company's financials or those kind of things. All of that personal information is going in there, and it's being aggregated somewhere. So making sure that parents understand that, you need to know what your kids are doing on the internet, bottom line, how much time they're using it, and what are they using it for, and then understanding how to use it in general with your kids for benefit.
So before we came here, I asked our 16-year-old what they thought about AI, and they said that there's a lot of fake news out there because they're able to, I think I saw a story where Tom Hanks was like, you're seeing things where it looks like I'm talking about something, it's not me. Just also, what do you think about that, letting them know that what they see may not be real?
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic.
Are you saying another episode?
Yeah. But there's something called AI creates what's called hallucinations. One of the things that's becoming prevalent, and some of the companies are holding back on, is its ability to generate video. So that's exactly what you're talking about. And there has been out there, there's been like, I don't know if you're Swiftie fans, but there's been some fake videos, pornography around Taylor Swift.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so fake political messages. So a couple of these companies have been holding back in terms of the video capabilities because they're worried about this exact same thing generating, but it's still out there. And so in the news there recently, there's been some stories about young girls and people generating pornography for young girls and boys. You can generate fake pornography, and it can affect your kids. They can make it look like your son or daughter is participating in pornography, or
that's awful.
Yeah, so you need to know that is out there, and what to do about it if that happens to your child. And it's going to become more and more prevalent. So absolutely, it can generate false information, false video, false images, all of those things.
So when you're talking about educating your kids, I have a feeling that it basically boils down to the parents need to educate themselves on what's going on with all this. Learning more about AI before you actually talk to the kids.
And it changes as fast as you learn it.
Yeah. And that's
so can you talk to me, Michelle, about it?
Well, and that's exactly why you asked me why I started. Why I became very passionate about this is because parents do need to understand it, so that they can talk to their kids appropriately. I'm not asking parents to teach their kids how to use it, because a lot of times kids don't want to learn from their parents, but they need to understand it. Another really good example that actually just happened to a kid that I know, so he's in college and he was doing a discussion with other students about, I think it was Bernie Madoff, the guy that ripped everybody off with the Ponzi. Right. So it's a business ethics course that he is taking, and it really generated positive things about Bernie and his long history as a successful businessman, but it didn't bring in all of the information about him basically ripping off, so you got to really parents need to teach their kids that, like, it can generate I've seen it generate like a whole nother war, like World War III, a paper about World War III. So you need to understand that some of it is false information, and you need to compare it to your textbooks, your teachers, encyclopedias, online sources that are credible.
That's why they ask for multiple resources, because not just one resource will give you all the information you need.
Exactly.
Well, let's put a plug in for your book, which is covering a lot of this now.
Yeah. So just recently I published a book called Raising AI Smart Kids, and it does give you the fundamentals. And what it centers around is, everything that I talk about is making sure that AI is human-centric. So the example I give is, like, you just aren't sitting your kid in front of the computer and letting them use it. Like, we need to teach them that it needs to be human-centric. And then the book focuses on 3 pillars, and everything I talk about is safety. Parents need to understand how to use it safely, how to teach their kids how to use it safely. The second thing is how to prepare yourself as a parent and prepare your kids, because kids are college kids that I have are flipping out about it because it's not integrated into their college education right now, but it's being integrated into the workforce. So they're worried they're not going to get jobs. We need to prepare our kids for the future. So that's another thing the book talks about. And then the third pillar is just educating yourself. And to your point, Michelle, you need to continue to educate yourself as a parent. It's changing rapidly, just as you said. So I also teach online courses, Raising AI Smart Kids. And then as part of that, I have a parent community that launches with that so that I can continue to educate parents every single day. I do lives every day about what's going on every single day.
Where can they find you?
I've got on my social media, and I'll give you those so you can post that.
We'll put that in
I've got
show
Instagram,
notes.
Facebook, LinkedIn. That's where you can primarily find me. And then if you just Google Stephanie Worrell at Raising AI Smart Kids, you can find my book. You can take a course or join the community or get the book.
And you know what? I'll make it a little easier on everyone, and I'll add all those links to the show notes.
Yep, great. And then one thing, I don't know if we can include this, but I am offering I offer scholarships because I am really passionate about making sure that it's affordable for people.
Oh, nice.
So this is really something that I am absolutely passionate about and want to make sure parents of all income levels, everywhere can really, you need to understand it. You need to prepare your kids for the future. I mean, I joke about, you don't want your kid living in your basement forever, but, you really, I do kind of think about it that way. I mean, I actually, my kid's in college and the other one's gone, and I would love it if my kids came back and lived with me.
I know.
But
we need to get a basement, don't we?
I know. Start
but
digging.
you want them to be able to support themselves. And really, like, if you think about it in any other way, it's like, you've got to prepare your kids for the future so that they can be productive human beings in the society. AI is not going back in the bottle.
It's here, guys.
It's here. It's just like Wi-Fi.
Good old Al.
Wi-Fi.
I love that Al.
Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi, the internet is here, and you've got to make sure you understand it as a parent. And we can talk about this at another time, but I talk a lot about how it can completely change the way your evenings go with homework. I remember homework hell. I don't know if you went through this, crying kids, kids trying to do their homework at 11 o'clock at night. You got all the activities.
Yeah.
Kids are hangry. You're hangry. You want to go to bed. I wasn't a math wizard, and trying to help kids with math. It's too late to call a tutor. You can't call the teacher. Well, using AI, as a parent, you're not setting your kid and having them do the homework, but you can use it as a tool to help them. You can become their tutor. It becomes their tutor, and you can help them with their homework. So.
There was a time when we would say, "Oh, I don't know this new math," and so I will say I could see how that would be really helpful for parents because the kids are learning it a different way than I was taught.
Exactly.
New math is so old, though.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, this has been so interesting, and I really, really would love to have you back to talk more about different details. But in the meantime, y'all get connected here. That book sounds fabulous, and if you do end up talking to Stephanie, let her know that you heard it on the Resilient Parenting podcast.
Yeah. Thank you for doing this. This is great. So.
Yeah, I have AI Wi-Fi doodah day in my head right now. Wi-Fi Al doodah day.
Yeah, you can call me Al.
You can call me Al. Isn't that a song?
Just not late to dinner. This podcast is brought to you by the Idaho Children's Trust Fund.